repair a couple of times. And yeah, he just called me out of the blue. He'd heard apparently or seen on Facebook that I had been very ill with the COVID. And by the way, I have an absolute respect for that COVID virus. Ladies and gentlemen, this is not a hoax. It's nothing to screw around with. It's frustrating that the only thing we seem to be able to do is wear a mask, but by God, I'm wearing a mask regularly. I don't go anywhere without it. It doesn't protect me. It protects other people, and I'd really hate to give it to somebody else. I have grandchildren. They'll be over the house tomorrow. I don't want to infect them or anybody else's grandchildren. I mean, this is a real dangerous disease. It's frustrating. We can't see it. We can't smell it. We don't know who's got it. We don't know where it is. I guess.
Yeah.
Some people, it's just too scary for some people to deal with, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, I've been blessed. I've been tested 3 times negative. My wife did get it, and she was a very light case, but she's recovered. And you got to be careful. And I apologize because I did not realize you were that sick. I thought maybe you had taken the leave of absence to go see your son or something, and I didn't want to inquire. And of course, I don't do a lot of social media, so
Right.
I didn't know, so I apologize.
It
sounds like the community really came to your support, and rightly so. So I'm so glad you were able to recover.
Yeah, it was a long road, but I was encouraged and my faith in humanity restored once again by people who just came unannounced to my house offering to help. And I pointed out in the TV segment with Dave Price at WHO that Supervisor Nikki Conrad and I don't see eye to eye on practically anything.
Right.
But she was one of the first to text me, "What do you need? I'm bringing stuff over." And she did, by the way. She was masked up heavily with a face shield and the whole thing, which I don't blame her.
Right.
But she brought over some things and checked on me continuously and brought me a little Thanksgiving dinner. And
that is awesome. That's the Iowa Nights that we all talk about. And I just hope that we can maybe have that Iowa Night spread out across the country and particularly into Washington, D.C. and get over all this bickering and fighting that, we got to come together as a country and Nikki Conrad and Mike Devine can get together. Why the heck can't we do that in Washington?
That's what I'm thinking. Boy, that you put that quite well. That's well said. Nikki,
I think it was very nice of Nikki. I mean, that says a lot about this, the character of a person. And
tremendous character.
I just, again, Fort Dodge, we are so blessed with our leaders and active involvement with the community and all our citizens. And we can differ, but we can respect each other.
I couldn't agree more. I do think we should impeach Allstott and Fritz on the city council, though. Is there
what they do? What they do?
They made me feel bad. So that's I know. Isn't that? Oh, poor baby. There's too many victims in the world, just poor baby. Oh, this is what happened to me, and it triggered me, and blah blah blah. Come on. Man up. Jeez, this is the big leagues. This ain't no party. This ain't no disco. This is real life. Jim Kersten, of course, is with Iowa Central. He's a longtime Republican, of course. Let's talk first about the state legislature that just gavelled in this week. Do you know any Republican priorities, especially?
Well, it sounds like I've talked with not only Senator Kreinbrink, Representative Meyer, and of course they want to continue to, spend the money wisely, but I think they're going to invest it in key areas like K-12, community colleges. They know that it's going to be important for us to get our funding to be able to help these people get back to work that have been laid off due to COVID. So those are some things I think we're going to work very closely with them on. And then I don't know exactly what's involved, but I know they're conceptually talking about additional tax cuts. The state's got a really good, robust budget situation at about $1 billion in surplus, including the rainy day fund. So I think they're going to be looking at that. And then they're also going to be waiting to see, what else will the federal government do to help provide, relief to the states and local governments. Higher ed was approved and signed into law the next round of relief by the president last week or 2 weeks ago. And they're working through the details on that. So it'll help Iowa Central again recover from the lost revenues that we had due to COVID when we had to shut down everything and go online, and we'd actually lost enrollment. So I'm positive we're going to have a good year. The governor speaks and gives her State of the State speech tonight at 6. So we're all anxious to see what she's going to be recommending. I think I did read and heard in the news that she is not going to be proposing any type of tax reform until the state gets a better feel on where our financial situation is. So I think all those types of things are a work in progress.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. I did ask Ann. Ann was nice enough to come in last week, and I did ask her about a mental health facility for our area. And like,
Oh yeah,
I can't let that go. And what after what happened with Pastor Henderson a year and a half ago, I guess it's been now. But we obviously need someplace in the county, in our city, wherever, where we can house people who are seriously mentally ill.
absolutely. And I hope that she can maybe work again. She's worked really well with Mark Campbell, our county supervisor.
That's what she
there.
said. Yeah.
And if we can work as a region to get a pilot program type facility and approach to solving this, it would be a model for the state. And I think Representative Meyer and Mark are going to work really hard to try to see if that can happen.
Yeah, it sounds like it, and I appreciate Ann's background in healthcare. In fact, I saw her husband this morning. I had an appointment with Dr. Meyer this morning. He still can't get that Michigan thing out of his head, but anyway, yeah, Ann is. I'm glad she's our representative. She has passion for the right things, I believe, and she's a very steady person. And I hope that we can, and I hope and pray we can get something done. I know we're a rural area, but Iowa's a rural state. I mean, gosh, if you think we're rural, take a trip to Spencer, and there's not much between us and Spencer anymore, I'll tell you.
Right.
So that's something that's badly needed, and I hope we can name it the Reverend Al Henderson Center. If it,
that would be awesome. That would be very
awesome.
well appreciated.
Yeah, I think that's only appropriate. It was his death that sparked tragic death that sparked our desire, I think, to get a mental health facility. I have no opinion on the guilt or innocence of the man accused of killing Pastor Henderson. I'm not a professional in the field or anything like that. But it appears this man was having trouble long before the attack on Pastor Henderson.
Yeah,
and and we have seen these things before, and the police don't know what to do. The police can put him in jail overnight. My son was in the Marine Corps with a man who lived in Des Moines, and he was a university educated man. He was a big man, 6'6", something like that, 300 pounds, and he was a black guy with a shaved head, and he looked probably a little scary to some people. But the point I'm trying to make is he was intelligent enough to know he was sick, to know that he needed help, and he was trying to get it. And he would go to VA counselors in Des Moines, and apparently one time he got very upset and threw a chair against the wall. Well, the counselor couldn't think of anything else to do but call the police, and they put him in jail. And he asked the police, "I'm in trouble. Find some place for me that I can go for my mental health problem." They called around Des Moines and couldn't find any place. They tried to help him. In the end, they had to let him out of jail. I mean,
yeah.
And
now we just put him on the street. Yeah.
Yeah, they put him back on the street. And he knows he's sick. He knows he's in trouble. And he's trying.
This is, the thing about it is my cousin Steve Kersten is a magistrate judge.
Yeah.
And, he said, unfortunately, he said, we can commit these people to try to get treatment in the hospital, but at some point the hospital can't house them permanently. So they release them with the medications that they should be taking to keep them from being violent. But then they oftentimes go off the medicine. So a facility that can really help these people rehabilitate and manage their illness and try to keep it under control. And it's just scary, the number of people out there that do need that assistance, and they're getting ignored. So
that's, we can do better. That's a failure on our part if we can't get this done. We have to get this sort of thing done, not only for the protection of the people who are mentally ill, but for the rest of us.
Right.
You don't know.
Absolutely.
So I hope we can get that done. What else do you look for in the session this year?
I think it's going to be a shorter session than they normally have. I think it'll be out. I think this year they're allowed to have paid days of up to 110, and I'm hearing they want to be in under 100 days so they can get out and they may have to come back for a special session. I heard yesterday to do the reapportionment. They can't do the reapportionment until the U.S. Census Bureau finalizes the numbers. And due to COVID and the federal government slowdown last year, those numbers are being slowed to come back to the states. So I just heard that yesterday that they might come back for a real quick special session for redistricting due to the new century that we're in.
How big a blow has COVID been to Iowa Central? God, we've been going on with this thing for almost a year now.
Well, we were lucky, the federal relief package we got provided $3 million of support and relief funds to the college, of which half, $1.5 million, had to be used to help students cover the costs that they were dealt with as they transitioned on to online and, had to live back at home and do whatever the costs were that they had. So they got grants to help cover those costs, and the same for the college. And just before I got off the phone with our CFO because I was on another webinar with our federal people about this next round of funding. And Iowa Central has done a good job of distributing the $3 million. We only have about $53,000 left of unspent money. And with the bill the president signed a couple of weeks ago, we now can carry that $53,000 forward to help us cover continued losses due to reduced tuition and enrollment, other related costs to providing masks and safe environment for the students and faculty.
It was a surprise to me that Dr. Kinney left, and I'm sorry that he left. I always liked Dan, good guy. Did he leave because it's closer to his home area, or?
Well, yeah, I think his dad retired from that college,
right?
And his mom's not in the best of health. So I just think he saw the opportunity open, and he thought it'd be a neat tradition to follow his dad's footsteps, and the board over there decided they liked that idea, and they hired him. And so now, we're going to have a search. People are applying right now for the new presidency, and I think I heard Mark Crimmins say, our board chair, that we might have up to 18 applicants already. That cutoff for applications is January 28th, and so we'll start looking through those applications and then winnowing it down. And I think they're going to have a final list of maybe 6 or 8 that they'll do like a first round of interviews, and then I think they might get a final 3 or something.
Yeah, sure.
But they no later than July 1, I think they want to have the person starting.
Well, those are big shoes to fill as far as I'm concerned. Kenny did a great job.
Yeah. And the beauty of it, too, we're having our interim cabinet run the college, and Dan had a really good team of people. And so we're just going to continue down the path of keeping the college on track due to, the previous plans that we've already outlined. But we're going to be offering an updated plan for whoever the new president is, that they can come in and run and not have to walk. So
that's for
we got a lot to do.
Yeah, that's right. What, getting back to COVID for a minute, are there special precautions over the dormitories and the classrooms, or? Oh
yeah, there's all sorts, masks required, of course, in everybody. And, we have, very intense cleaning of facilities, both the classroom and the dormitories. And we've reduced the number of roommates so they aren't quite as congested. And it's really, it's been amazingly successful. And, it's just, we've done our best. And like all Iowans, we just you got to take it on and deal with it and not complain. And our team and the faculty and staff here have been just wonderful to work with. And the students, too. They've been very responsible.
Would you have 3 to a room over there for a while, or?
What's that?
Did you have 3 to a room over there in some of those dormitories, or 2, or how many?
3 or 4. Well, we usually have 5 or 6. I think they've moved it back to 3 or 4. That affects our bottom line because the tuition and room and board, that money, has to be made up somehow. And so
right.
We did do significant cuts last year, but now it looks like the federal money that we did have or are going to have will be able to help recover some of those cuts. so that we can keep the college in a strong financial situation.
Sure. Is the college in a strong financial situation right now?
Yeah, it really is. We just got to continue to monitor it and make sure that we spend within our means and have the right services in place to keep students wanting to come to Iowa Central.
Sure. Yeah. So are there any new programs out this year?
Well, there's always been new programs being looked at or tweaked. And so the board's going to be looking at those over the next month or so for next year. And there'll be a full list of those that I can send you when that's finalized. The only other thing that we are going to probably start up again in 2018, we had that bond issue, and most of the projects have been fully implemented. But we do have two major ones left. One is the improvements at Decker Auditorium, and then the construction of a new fuel testing lab. And so those were kind of put on hold due to the whole COVID situation last year. So I think we'll begin to start having discussions about, how do we move forward with those things to complete the bond issue and the promise we made to our taxpayers.
Will there be night classes available at Iowa Central? I don't know if Iowa Central has ever done that in the past. Maybe they have.
Oh yeah, there's night classes, and now with online, a lot of these classes you can take, at any time.
Oh gosh, it's quite the world, isn't it?
It really is, and the thing about it is, it was frustrating and it was a transition, but I was amazed how well, not just Iowa Central, but all education transformed itself in delivering education to online and in blended learning, because they had to. We couldn't expose the students or faculty, so they had to go online, and it's better to be face to face, of course, for particularly younger students. But it worked well, and I think it helped Iowa Central can become more entrepreneurial in delivering our education.
Well, I hope so. You mentioned Decker Auditorium. I thought that's an underappreciated jewel that we have in Fort Dodge, Decker Auditorium. That's a beautiful little facility for a town our size. What is it, about 1,200 seats capacity or 15?
I think it's more than that, but now because of the damage, there's fire hazards and things like that, so it holds maybe 1,000. But I think when that gets renovated, I forget the number of the new seats are going to be in there, but it's going to be a significant size. And that brings up one last thing, Mike, and I don't know if many people have been able to watch, but again, I'm very impressed with our theater and our music departments, because they've been doing virtual concerts online. So people can watch, they had a Christmas show program, and just being very entrepreneurial and thinking out of the box. So they'll continue to do that until we can have large audiences again.
Iowa Central's been known for football and a pretty good music program, I think. Iowa Central has always done a great job in that regard. I know several years ago I was still doing theater with local theater groups here in town, and Iowa Central musicians would come out and be in the pit orchestra, and they sounded big time. They sounded terrific. Anyway, Jim Kersten is our guest. Jim, of course, is a very active Republican, and he's with Iowa Central as well. Thank you, Jim.
Thank you, and welcome back, and I'll be back next week if you want.
Yes, sir. I would love that. 4 o'clock in the afternoon. This is AM 1400 KBFD.
For exciting Panther sports, keep it right here on your home for University of Northern Iowa sports in North Central Iowa. The voice of Fort Dodge, KBFD, Fort Dodge.
They've only just begun. I'm Lisa Brady, Fox News. Federal prosecutors are pursuing sedition charges against some of those involved in last week's violent breach at the U.S. Capitol.